Okay, guys, welcome to Empowered Elites team call for March 14th. I always forget the dates. um, I have just a couple quick things that I want to cover before we dive in. I'm super excited for our call tonight, but I just want to remind you guys the Basics Challenge is still rocking. There's a Sunday accountability post every Sunday. If you are really leaning into seeing growth in your business, I highly suggest joining us. If you don't know what that is, there's a tracker in the files of the team page called the Basics Are Badass. Print that out, print out a couple copies. You need one a week of the first page. And I can't tell you how awesome it feels just to have a simple list to check things off every day. Next up is if you are coming to Summit and you want to attend the Success Club party, that means that you need to hit Success Club this month and next month with a total of 20 Success Club points combined. So however you want to work that out, they're worth getting to. They're so much fun. We always have a handful of girls on our team that get to go, and typically we try to work it out where everybody gets to come because everyone gets a guest. But this year is going to be a state fair theme, so I think it'll be really fun. And the last thing I keep updating on is that Success Club is one of the non-negotiable requirements to coming to Empowered Elites Leadership Retreat in October. I'm giving 1 month of grace. So if you missed it last month, totally fine. Just make sure you're rocking that on forward. And guys, I just really want to speak belief into this team that it is totally possible for you to help 3 people a month. There are so many people out there that need our help at our fingertips if we just show up and consistently do the work, right? So I really hope that you believe in yourself, that is possible, because where that all begins, and I actually heard something earlier tonight that I just want to throw in there before we get started. And that is the importance of not knowing what we do. We know what we do, right? We're health and fitness coaches, we're motivators, we're inspirers, we're encouragers, we are leading by example with our lives. But you need to know why you are doing this, because if you have that personal why, that driving force of why you want to empower and pour into other people, and your own personal why of what this business is doing for your life, you are so much more likely to have that belief that this small non-negotiable goal is possible for you every single month. So I would encourage you to really stop and think about that for a moment and get clear on why it is you're here and why it is that you do what we do, so that you can use that as momentum moving forward. So tonight I asked a couple of the newer coaches on our team that are really crushing it with their social media, their Instagram stories. They're helping people get started on their journeys. And I just love to see the confidence and the excitement of new coaches that are just digging in and really crushing it. And I did mention, hold on, I gotta mute somebody. I did mention that, as we've been talking the past few months, a lot of things are changing in terms of social media and branching into Instagram more and using hashtags and Instagram stories and all of that kind of stuff. And I think that it is so key for us as coaches, but also as entrepreneurs, to constantly be upping our game in terms of skill and being innovative and creative and really leaning into that learning curve. And I get it. It's uncomfortable. If you've been a coach for a while, it almost feels like we're learning things all over again. But I do think that there's something to be said about new coaches that are coming in with all of these changes kind of already in place, and just really truly embracing that. And I don't know about you guys, but it really inspires me to see new coaches just taking things and implementing and taking action and seeing the results of those things. So I asked a few of the awesome coaches on our team to share some things with us tonight that I thought would be helpful for everybody. Yes, Kelly, we can do that right now, actually. If anybody has any recognition or rank advancements that you want to shout out before we start, you can unmute and go ahead.
I'm going to unmute fast because I just was one that was the annoying person that asked for that. But I wanted to give a rank advancement because along with the lines of a newer coach, and I think I saw her on here, Miss Maggie. Yay! Maggie Painter is on, and she just joined me over the past like 2 to 3 weeks, not even, and she will be hitting Lovely Emerald tomorrow. So I'm super proud of her, and I just wanted to give her a big yay. And I'm super psyched. So keep rocking it, girl.
Can you do a little dance, Kelly, with that clapping?
I got co-containers.
Congrats, Maggie. I have to shout out Brittany because she wasn't on the call last week, I don't think, but Brittany Cancino is now an Emerald coach. She kind of started her journey a while back and recently came back and dove all in with coaching. So huge congrats to you, sister. And also there's going to be another advancement this week, but I'll wait until next week to share that. So does anybody else have anything they want to shout out before we dive in?
I just want to say that one of my challengers has joined us tonight, Jen Long. She is still kind of figuring out what she wants to do about this coaching thing, so I had her listen in. I thought this would be really helpful for her. So yay, I'm so glad you're here.
I love that. Welcome, Jen. Okay, so let's dive in. We're going to kind of do this in a Q&A format. I thought it might be more fun to just kind of ask questions and go through the 4 girls that I've asked to talk and get their responses. So don't all jump at once. You can unmute yourself if you want to go first. But the first question that I want to ask is, what was helpful to you in just diving in and taking action and building momentum for yourself? Just one tip for newer or older coaches looking to kind of rebuild momentum.
I can start if you guys
go for it.
Are cool. So I've thought about this a lot lately, and it's repeated multiple times. Like I hear it like literally every week, especially on the National Wake Up Call. It's the basics. I have found that when I am consistent about having conversations, when I am consistent about like following up and inviting people, then they may not join me at that moment, but they're still watching. So making sure that I'm following the basics every week is definitely on my like to-do list. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And also because Dana, you mentioned it earlier, the checklist that we have, the basics are badass. We actually, it kind of helps my ADD so that I'm like in my power hour, like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? So if you're a newer coach and you haven't checked it out, that's actually a really awesome checklist for you to like just go bam, bam, bam. All right, done. So.
I agree with Mary, and I know her and I have been kind of chatting back and forth the past couple of weeks about some stuff, but like the basics. And I know I took like a little bit of a hiatus after I first started like a little over a year ago because we moved and life. But so when I started doing that again a couple months ago, I started like talking to people again and, you know, getting closer and closer to hitting Success Club, and hit it again last month. Hopefully gonna hit it again this month. I'm only like a person away or something now, so that's awesome. But my only other thing is just like, and I know this is said before, and I pardon if there's children on, tell them to plug their ears, but fuck fear, because that is like one of the biggest things that I had when I first started all of this, was that like I was afraid of, well, what are people like that I know, like my friends, my family, my boyfriend, anybody, like what are they going to think of me if I start doing this and just start, you know, putting my life out there. So I guess I just kind of got to the point where I was like, you know what, people relate to that, people agree with what I have to say, and I'm just going to say it. That's it.
And I'd have to say, to go off of what both of them had said, is sharing my journey. I've also realized that reaching out to people and trying to stay consistent with people, that I needed to introduce myself to newer people. And I remember in a call a couple weeks ago, I think, or maybe last month, that we had on Instagram stories and hashtags, making it more relatable so people could see, you know, how we struggle. It's not all easy when you see it in a picture. making it more relatable for them and looking up hashtags that I relate to as a person, a mom, whatever my journey is, and reaching out and starting new conversations with other people. And that's really kind of helped me in starting back up, just because I started a couple of years ago before I had my daughter and fell off the wagon, but back now. But that's what has been helping me huge this time with success.
Can I go?
Yes, go.
I'm having technical difficulties here, but I think I'm good now. I want to say for me, it's just really been about being enthusiastic and just having a good attitude about everything. I feel like, I feel like this is our moment. We're front and center. We are able to help and inspire and do great things for people. And so if we just embrace that and jump in with that attitude, I think that's what's been working for me.
Oh my God, you guys make me so happy. I love it. You guys, your tips are amazing. Okay, so number 2, Kayla, you kind of talked about this. You kind of touched on it. But what was your biggest fear, or what is your biggest fear, and how are you working through that?
I can start that one, I guess. So I guess when I first started this, one of my biggest fears was like letting myself and letting my like coaches and challengers down, which when I first started, I was working like, I don't know, 70-hour weeks or something, like a ridiculous amount. And Ashley can attest to that. So I did a lot of my business from my phone and carried around my planner. Like I was like a little mini me of Ashley at work, just like, hey, what are you doing? But I carried around my planner and like kept it in my little locker. So like whenever I had a second, I would like jump in and do stuff. But it was hard because, and I'm finding this difficult now, even that I have more time, to like constantly like check in with them, make sure like the things that they're doing, that like their needs and stuff, that like they can feel free to come to me and ask questions and stuff. And that was like my biggest fear in the beginning, because I felt like a lot of the people that I had under me back then, I don't have anymore. And I feel like it's because it's something that I failed at. Like I didn't give them enough support, or, didn't push them enough. So I just kind of this time around decided like, hey, you know what? We're going to set one day a week. So I pick Sundays because it's usually my day off, to sit down and just like shoot a message to all of my challengers and coaches like, hey, how's it going this week? What'd you struggle with? What'd you do good? Are you feeling good? That kind of thing. And that's kind of helped me so far through all of this. So
I'm going to jump in. I would say my biggest fear with coming into this is definitely being judged by other people. I know I have a couple of friends, and I know not always the greatest, but they're very judgmental, and they like to mock or make fun of, and they don't think, like this will work. But then I proved them wrong with the last time a couple years ago when I did 21 Day Fix, couple of that and 21 Day Fix Extreme. But that's always been my biggest fear, is people's judgments. So what I've done is a lot of personal development, which I'm now getting back into because I stopped that. And, it really does help you as a person to conquer your fears. We have to dive in and learn to love ourselves and not care what other people think, because we're our success. It's not based off of what they think. You got to come every day. You have to crush it and believe in yourself, and then other people will start to believe in you because they will see it. So that has been the biggest help for me.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a great point. I would say for me, sorry, whoever I cut off, I'm really sorry. For me though, it's been the making, sending friend requests, making new friends, that kind of thing has been my biggest fear. So I just decided that I was going to change how I looked at it and what I thought about it. And I decided that Facebook was kind of like a big playground where, I'm a kid, and if I don't go and make friends with people, I would be alone on the bench or something. So I send friend requests now because I'm genuinely trying to make friends, and not with the end goal that I'm trying to turn them into a challenger. And that has taken a lot of the fear away from me in that situation.
That's pretty cool, Cheryl. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
My biggest fear, kind of what Brittany was talking about, but it's more so worrying about what other people think. I've always had this fear. This is not even, coaching related. I worry a lot about what other people think and how I'm judged or what I'm doing is judged. But like Brittany said, a lot of personal development. I actually, from Lauren's suggestion, I just finished The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Highly recommend that book. Oh my God, it was such a great book. So I finished it in like 3 days. It was ridiculous. So reading lots of PD has really helped me just kind of not worry about what other people are thinking. And also, there was a National Wake Up Call I listened to like at the beginning of the year, and I cannot remember who was on it. It was one of the, top 10 coaches. And what she said was, when you are sharing your journey or being vulnerable, basically, and if you have a fear of like putting yourself out there, to not think about what others are thinking, think about that one person you're trying to reach and only talk to them. Like, that's that person you're trying to reach. Don't worry about anyone else. Worry about that one person, and they will come to you. You're just basically being vulnerable so that they can trust you. So that's kind of how I get it out of my head.
Awesome. I feel like you're talking to me when I watch your stories, so it's working.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that tip so much, because not everybody's going to resonate with what we share, but that doesn't mean it's not worth sharing, because there are people that will resonate with it. And that's definitely why we do it. I love that. Okay. Number 3. Number 3 is, what's working for you the best on social media right now, and how are you hitting Success Club?
So as far as social media, I kind of dove straight into the Instagram stories, just trying to figure those out. And what I love about the Instagram stories versus what we were kind of doing maybe last year or in the years past, when you were having to like come up with 3 or more posts per day, I felt like it was almost like stressful for me to just come up with topics to talk about. And now with Instagram, with the stories, if you're doing it on Facebook or Instagram, you could just share bits and pieces of your day. It doesn't even have to be, health related. Today I talked about my washer and dryer, but who cares? Like, it's an inside look to what I'm doing. And they get a glimpse of what you're doing per day, but you're sharing quality versus quantity in a post, right? So you're sharing maybe once per day of an actual, something. I choose to do something very vulnerable, and that's where my PD comes in. Just because I mean, we all have a story. We all know why we're here. We all have our own reason. And choosing something that's a little more eye-catching. So stopping the scroll is obviously what you want to get them to do. So social media, following everything everyone is talking about in Instagram stories, like really kind of diving straight into that, has really helped me hit Success Club. And it hasn't been necessarily being consistent, like I said earlier, is what's going to help you hit it in the future months. You can't expect to dive right in and have a banging month. Like, that does happen, but having those relationships and building that trust is also important too.
I have to agree with her like 150%. I love doing Instagram stories purely because of the fact that, like, the days that I work and stuff, I don't have time. Like, I do my workouts and like maybe dinner or something, but I don't have time throughout the day to like document everything. So it's easier for me to just go onto my IG stories when I want to and just like do a little snippet, like when I'm eating lunch or whatever, when I have a break, versus like posting 3 to 5 times on Facebook, which is like super hard for me to do. So I agree with her. I do try to do like the one big thing a day. And lately it's been the fact that I haven't been waking up to my alarm, and it just throws my whole mind off. But I've had a bunch of people like message me privately or write me on Instagram saying the same thing. Like, they struggle with that too. And like, they don't, I've been following a lot of military wives, and a lot of their husbands are now deployed here. And so it's like a huge thing with them and their kids and stuff. And So I've gotten a lot of people like forming at least. And I find that I guess before I never really did that. I just cold invited people, and then I started forming with them after the fact that they said no. So like I would do a follow-up, and then it would just be like a normal conversation, like, you know, what's going on in life, how's it going, that kind of stuff. And like doing the basics every day since then, like I find that I'm talking to people that I used to talk to months and months and months ago who are now like, I'm in, let's do this. So
I definitely agree with the Instagram stories. I used to do the daily 2 to 3 posts back a few years ago when I first started, and I didn't have as much success, but I never gave up. And then it eventually did come. I was starting to reach out to some people. But this time with the Instagram, I mean, I've had an Instagram forever, but I never have done the Instagram stories. So after we had that call on the Instagram stories, you know, I decided the next day I was going to play with it. And I didn't realize who all watches it. You don't realize until you go and look, because I think, oh, there's nobody paying attention to me. You know, that's what you think in your head. But then you realize there's a lot of people that really are paying attention. And I've had several mothers, because I try to post, you know, you get up early in the morning, you do your workout, your food, energize. You try to make it fun, because when some people look at it, they're like, oh, I don't want to work out, you know, it doesn't really get much attention. So I try to make it fun with the videos, even with the exercising, and then, you know, go through my whole day, because I work full time still, because I have so many people that tell me they just don't have time. Well, I'm going to show you, you can make the time if you're really invested in yourself, you know. And that has been seeming to work very well for me, you know, bringing my daughter into the post as well. You know, everybody likes to see little kids. So, but it's helped a lot of moms, and still communicating with some of them that are afraid, but, you know, just keep posting and they will reach out to you.
And I just want to highlight that for a second. That basically what you're saying you do, like in your stories, is you're basically overcoming an objection, which I think is absolutely genius. Because it's saying like, hey, I'm a mom, you have no time, but here's me making time, and this is how I'm doing it. And I think that that's huge.
Yeah.
Whatever your niche is, whatever the excuses and objections you get are a lot, that's an awesome thing to be sharing.
And I've had some tell me after the past 3 days that I'm insane because I wake up at 4 to 4:30. But, you know, I switched my shift. I used to go 7 to 3:15, but there was way too much temptation when I got off at 3:15 to not do the workouts, because I'd sit at my desk all day thinking, oh, like I want to do it, but then I'm tired when I get home. So I decided to make the switch, and he switched me to 9 to 5:15. So I'm like, well, if you really want something, you're going to make it happen. So just go to bed earlier and get your ass up in the morning to get it done.
For me, I think it's really been about trying to get some clear, bright pictures on my posts. And then obviously getting there, but not quite there yet, being consistent with my stories as well on Facebook and Instagram. And I noticed a big jump when I changed my cover photo to show what it is that I do, or, you know, who I am and that kind of thing. And people suddenly maybe thought that I was really serious about this, or maybe, you know, even an expert or something, I don't know. But I had people start coming to me privately and saying, okay, I need help with this, or what do I do? So that was a big thing for me. And posting my workout videos actually on my wall, on my timeline, that helps, because obviously I don't get everybody watching my stories yet. I think right now my average is about maybe 19 people or so. So posting those videos on my wall has helped me a lot. And then every once in a while, post a really bad looking before picture and then your progress. So that's what's worked for me so far.
Cheryl, that reminds me of a book, another PD book I read a while ago was The Go Giver.
Mhm.
And what you're doing is basically, you're giving nuggets of information for them to help and see, and so that they kind of resonate where you're going to be able to help them. So I think that, if anyone else is looking, it's kind of like a way of giving value to people so that they, again, trust you, so they come to you when they want that help. So
I agree with that too.
that's another good tip.
Yeah, a lot of people lately have been saying to me that they have been watching like for a long time, and at first, like I've gotten friends of mine from college who have reached out and been like, "Wow, I'm so impressed that you've stuck with this for so long, and I figured this was just something you'd give up on, but like good for you," kind of thing. And I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've been doing lately has just been showing people like, okay, this is something I truly am serious about and I like to do, and that I have value to show them as well.
Also, on that point, Kayla, and a lot of people might, especially newer coaches, might have the same problem that some of the older coaches and veterans know. Like, family members push back. Family members don't necessarily agree or understand why you're doing this, why you're coaching. I mean, they all see it as like, oh, it's just another one of those pyramid schemes, is what they call it. And I liked Dana's post about that the other day. But the don't worry about them, I guess, is what I'm going to say, is eventually they'll believe that you are really in this. Like, you are actually serious about making this kind of your thing. You want to earn a little bit of extra, whether it's your income that you need just, replace, or you just want a little extra money on the side. They're going to see that you're putting in the effort to do all your basics, all of the workouts, and following the nutrition plan, and everyone's going to start taking notice. And it's not an overnight thing. They're going to eventually come to you and be like, okay, so really, what are you doing? So take note.
I can also say, for me, and I know it's not just me, I know it has to be some other people, but whenever I see people come out with, the products that they're doing and all, a lot of times you don't ever see that person actually using the products or showing their results from the products or from anything. And that right there holds me back from really buying. I don't want to see other people's posts. I don't want to see other people's results. I want to see your results. I want to see if you truly believe in this, that you're willing to take the time and all to put into it. It just draws me more when I see the real person's post. So I feel like when you show them the real journey that you're on, show them the workouts. It doesn't have to be every little thing, just maybe a little clip once a day here and there. Show them the sweat, the tears, show them the real you. And that will really draw people more to me than anything else.
I love it. I have to highlight a couple of things before we continue on. First, Cheryl, what you said about your page. Our social medias are basically like our business storefronts. So I think that's huge that you mentioned that created some traction for you with updating that kind of stuff. The whole thing about haters and people that don't believe in us, like, I like to think about it like this. If you were to go, if I was to go say to my mom, I'm going to tattoo myself from head to toe, she wouldn't be on board with that, right? Like, I had people in my life that were skeptics, haters, doubters, but I had that unwavering belief of what would happen if I continued to show up and pour into people, right? And I think that that's really important to remind yourself when you get some kickback, not to just like have that persistent attitude of saying like, I'm going to prove people wrong, because I don't think that we should do things in terms of proving. I think that we should do them because we love them and we believe in them. But I think that you can let haters feel the fire in terms of, watch how many people I'm going to impact and influence, and that this is something I'm serious about. And it's like that quote, it says something about like, work hard in silence and let the success make the noise for you. And from a heart to heart kind of a note, a lot of people that are giving lashback and that are hating and not supporting are people who need your support and encouragement and positivity the most. So, kind of look at that with, or perspective of caring and compassion, because I know for me, before I found happiness along my journey, that I was one of those people that looked at other people with jealousy for what they were doing. And I don't think that anybody can say that they haven't felt that at some point in their lives. So just remember that those are people you can inspire to. They might just be a little rougher around the edges. And the last thing I think, Brittany, that you're really kind of nailing in is building your testimony. Because it's so true. It's so different if you were to just post like, drink this shake, do this workout. But we're building our trust and our testimony and our relationships with the results that we're getting. Whether it be your fitness, your nutrition, your business, even your mindset. People watch your growth that happens within you, and just how you speak about your journey and the things that you're doing. So I think those are all really great points. The last question is, what has been most helpful for you personally for your personal growth?
I have to say, I actually shared a little bit about this on my Instagram stories today, just sharing the coaching opportunity. But the idea that this is filling my cup. I'm always been a people person. I've always, and Lauren kindly called me out the other day. I was always, the cheerleader. And this is something that fits my personality the best, helping others and as myself as well. So it kind of helps me personally by just filling my cup every day, getting that community, between you guys, the other coaches, and just my challengers and just everybody. That's just personally, it keeps me accountable. And it certainly just it helps a lot. So that's definitely one way it's helped.
I think for my perspective, I guess for the most part, doing PD helps. And I know when I don't do it, because I get very like in my head, and it's hard to like pull myself out of that area in my life, I guess. So I've been reading the Unfuck Yourself book, and it's like hands down one of my favorite books I think I've ever read, because I feel like just sitting there looking at me being like, stop it. And it just hits home for me for whatever reason. And so like I know when I don't do it, and whether that's like listening to a podcast or reading a book or doing journaling that I've recently gotten into a little bit. So doing stuff like that to work on myself, and as silly as it sounds, doing my workout every day, because I don't know, it's just literally the only way I can relieve stress that I can think of. Like, taking a nap or watching TV, stuff like that just doesn't do it. I just sit there and the little hamster just spins in my head. So, getting a little 5 seconds to myself is always really nice too.
I would have to say what helps me is I have a few pictures that I have out on my walls that anytime I feel like I want to give up or not get something done today, which I'm been sick for the past week, so it's been a little bit of a struggle, but we all have little setbacks, but it's just going to be a better comeback. But I have certain pictures set up to remind me of when I was at that depressed stage, the very unhealthy stage, how miserable, because you can just see it reflected in one photo. And then to see the success I had years ago with it, of how great I felt and how it changed me personally, on top of reading books for, personal development. But just having these pictures out and reminding myself with my disorder, if I don't do this for myself, I'm only hurting myself down the road, and I could be possibly ending my life sooner. So that right there is what keeps me going. And it makes me want to help other people that are just like me, that think that there's no end in sight for it and that it's not possible, because I have a disorder that affects the joints and the ligaments. So by doing the workouts, it actually does hurt me, but not doing it is going to hurt me even more. And I want to reach out to a bunch of people that are like that are struggling. So that's what helps me personally keep growing.
Um, for me, it's basically doing the basics of my journey every single day. So working out and drinking my shake and just staying committed to that because I can't control what comes at me in this world, but I can control what I do. And that's one thing that I am able to do and be consistent at. I have in so far in this business, I've been dealing with just easily getting deflated, by people and putting myself out there and that kind of thing. And I do the basics and then I remind myself that my intention is to put good out in the world. And whether or not it's received that way, that's not my business. I can only control what I do. So my safety net is doing the stuff I need to do for my journey, and the results are showing. And when they are haters or anything like that, um, the results speak for themselves. And one day they're going to see that they need that or they want that, and the good that I've put in the world is actually working. So that's what's been helping my growth.
I love that, the sentiment that how it's received when your intention is good is not it's not your perspective, it's someone else's. So doing it with that good intention to be a powerful influence and not worrying so much how it's received on the other end. I love that. So that is all my questions. I think you guys crushed it. Does anybody have questions that they would like to ask these ladies? Or anything that you want to share that was impactful for you? No? Mind blown? I love it.
So I'm back.
Hey.
Hi. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you. And second of all, I just want to. I am like so emotional today, so sorry if I cry.
Let it out, Caesar.
I just wanted to say, obviously I've like taken a little step back the past couple months, but I'm just like blown away by all of you guys. So I don't know. I am like, oh my God, like the worst day ever to speak. God, like ever. But anyways, I'm so blown away by all the progress that everyone has made, and I'm like so thankful and to be a part of this team. And I'm excited to like dive back in with you guys. And I also just wanted to say thank you, totally separate, but like you guys like crushed it. Seriously. I was like messaging some of you randomly, like, I hope all of you guys are so proud of yourselves, but, anyway, I just also wanted to say thank you for all of you guys, like, amongst like me not responding for like months on end, like it's really, and hopefully you'll find some value here. It's really helped me see that like, this is not something that is, like when you're talking about like what the haters think and like people that don't want to coach and people that are judging or wondering like what you're doing, like you guys, like if there has been any like proof for me, it's this, like taking a step back for months, literally not responding to any messages for forever, and then having the support of this community throughout it all. Like you don't have friends like that in this life. So it's not a joke. This community is really, really special. And it's like the thing that I kept saying the whole time. I was like, man, like if I didn't have Beachbody like workouts, like what I would be like, what would I do for my activity, or like what would I do without like the only people commenting on my post or like my Beachbody friends, that I haven't even like responded to. So anyway, it's given me a lot of the why that Dana always talks about. As that drive is to like help other people feel this way, because I I was really down, and I don't know who I would have had to help support me through it all if I didn't have you guys. So, and like just that feeling of being so alone without this would have been pretty rough. So thank you, and I hope you guys see like just how powerful you are. I know it's super easy to like get into your heads when people aren't like getting the results, or maybe you don't think they're doing what they should be doing, or maybe you don't feel like you're making an impact, but you are, and it's like, I mean, I didn't even talk to Dana as much as I have for the past few months, but it's like when I'm having a meltdown, who am I texting? I'm like, here I am like months later, like, Dana, I don't know who I am. Like, what do I do? I can't pull my shit together. So there's so much value in what we do as coaches. Don't think for a minute like you're just like part of an MLM and like you're a beach buddy coach. It's so easy to start thinking that way, but it couldn't be further from the truth. You just really play such an important role. So I hope you guys can see that. That's all I got. Sorry about the tears.
Damn it, Kelly. Oh, I love you guys. Thanks for sharing that, Kelly. I think that's really important to remember the bigger picture and the sisterhood and the community and the purpose, and just truly how much this does influence our lives.
I want to make a point to the whole sisterhood community thing, because I have never met any, except for Lauren. I knew Lauren growing up, but I've never met any of you guys in person. I will this summer. I will see you guys at Summit. But I mean, that is showing how impactful you guys are, especially to be able to influence, your challengers and those who want to make this a business and want to do what you do. I mean, that's certainly something that a lot of us newer coaches look up to and inspire. You guys all inspire all of us. So Kelly, I'm so happy that you're joining us tonight, and I hope to see you every week from now on, as well as everyone else. But these calls are awesome, and I really appreciate, Dana, everything you do for us too.
I just have to add to this, guys, that Kelly, it's something, I don't know how you worded it, but just not worrying about people that don't want to join you in this. And guys, like, that is a struggle for every single one of us. Like, I don't know about you, but there are days I just wish that I could shake people and say, I know this could change your whole friggin' life, like your whole life, everything about it, right? And we have to realize that where people are at in their journeys and their stories is where they need to be to grow. It's where, it's where they need to be to get to where they're going next. And it is just our job to connect and to be there and to keep on keeping on and keep on inspiring and showing what's possible, so that when they need that safety net that we provide, that is so much more than just fitness and nutrition and shakes. It is the community that makes all of this what it is, and this team. So thanks for really highlighting that, Kelly. I think it's so important to remember.
I had that written down somewhat, Dana, and like I wrote like stuff because I don't talk well in front of people yet still. So, but one of the things I had written down was like, and I don't remember, somebody else on the team said this months and months ago in a post, but like people will join you when they are ready to join you. Like you could ask them when they are in the best part of their life, and it's going to take them literally hitting rock bottom to be like, hey, I'm ready. Let's do this. And so, people are going to tell you no. And at that point, you just got to kind of be like, okay, well, maybe you're just not ready. And, you know the value you have to offer, what you have to give, and you just have to believe in that process.
And that's why it's so important to keep having those relationships, just to keep building that trust and be their friend, be there for them. And they're going to be, there for you. And eventually, if they're ready, they'll come around.
And not for nothing, guys, but like, I hope you know how much I love this team and believe in every single one of you. I lose a lot of sleep over thinking about how I can help encourage and move everybody forward. And I often have to remind myself that everybody's journey is its own. And I'm just also extremely grateful and thankful that we have this community where you can be your true self and be vulnerable and share the things that bring you shame and stress and struggle, and, you know, admit that you're not perfect and that you don't have it all figured out, but we have that that place to come, that safe place to encourage each other and lean on each other. And I think that that's, to me, my favorite part of this team. So thank you, ladies, for sharing tonight. Your tips were absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Kelly, for sharing your heart. I love you. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.